Howdy. So this is a little weird.
Yeah. Yeah, we got there in the end. That's the main thing. Yeah, so technology let us down. Well, let me down. Phil stepped in to save the day, so that's great. Phil, thank you for chatting with us today. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so I'm in Vancouver, BC. For those who don't know me, I'm John Ward. I'm a comic creator based here on the unceded ancestral territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh. And Phil, you're here with me today. Do you want to just give us the high-level intro, where you are, and what's been going on today?
So I'm in Long Island, New York, and I am jack of all trades, master of nothing. Just doing what I can with distribution, publishing, and print on demand while I'm a nurse by day and father and husband. And I'm only 27, so you can see what this is all doing to me.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, so. Yeah, I just on that though. I mean, as somebody who's been working in nursing, I mean, I kind of like to understand like where people have come from. So I think that kind of tells us a lot about the kind of how they make decisions and kind of like the things that they value. And so obviously as a nurse, kind of like that's wonderful. But what made you go into nursing in the first place? And what has kept you there? Because it's a very, very tough profession.
Long story short, I was a manager for Coca-Cola. Due to a family situation, I wound up having to move upstate to assist a family member. While I was there, because I needed time with the family member, I got a part-time job just working with the mentally disabled. And I loved them. They were great people. And someone said to me one day, they go, you would make a great nurse. Have you ever thought about nursing? And I was like, I never did. And I researched it. And in 3 months I was in school, and in a few years I was graduated and got my first job. I came back to Queens, New York, and I got my first job in North Shore, where I was born actually, and where both my kids were born. So it's an attachment to my life. And I've been a nurse. I'll be a nurse 20 years next year. And why do I stay? It's a great career. It's a great salary. It's a chance to try to make a difference and help people. I don't do bedside nursing anymore, but I'm still helping people with home care and getting services they need. And it's great to make money, but if it should mean something in some level. So just like what I'm doing in comics, if it doesn't mean anything, why am I going to bother?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, you get to meet, you meet a lot of people as a nurse, right? Like, so you kind of have to kind of learn to love people and kind of figure out like all of the things that like they want, even if they can't speak to you.
Well, it's funny because it actually helps me, because meeting so many different personalities helps me with my writing. And I've been told I write dialogue very realistic and well. And I think that's because of all of my experiences with so many different personalities.
Yeah, I mean, you must have met thousands of people like over 20 years. I mean, that's that's a lot of people to have to deal with. So we're here to kind of talk about comic-related stuff today. So you're a nurse. Like, when did you get into comics? Was that something you were into in school, and or did you come to it later? And like, what was the first book that kind of got you hooked?
I was 9 years old, and on a spinner rack, I saw Uncanny X-Men 115 with Sauron in the background, John Byrne cover, and Nightcrawler jumping back, and Wolverine slashing at Colossus. And I looked at these characters like, oh my God, these are so cool. What the hell is this? And begged my parents, picked up that issue, and what was it? 126, I think, where the Mutant X to bash him through the wall. And, I was reading out of continuity, obviously out of order, but I just loved it. And the characters are so bombastic and interesting, like a metal man, a blue demon, a guy with claws. It was just awesome. And from there, I love Chris Claremont's writing. I love John Byrne's work. And then obviously, and I went back to Cockrum's work, and then I went forward into everybody else, that followed after. And that was it. And then my love for comics, I just kept wanting to try new titles and new things, and just went from there.
Yeah, it's like a slippery slope, right? Once you kind of get that first one, it kind of like you just keep going.
Well, it's funny because I didn't like reading as a kid, and it actually got me to read. And then I started reading prose books. I enjoyed novels and stuff. So some people are snobby about comics, but at least from my personal experience, they got a kid who couldn't sit still to read to want to read.
Yeah. Yeah, and so there's lots of research out there that shows like it is like a gateway for people like to actually kind of get into to literature. So like it's it is kind of funny that people are quite dismissive about it. But as you're a comic fan, but like when did you kind of start thinking about, well, like I could do that? I mean, was that something that you saw at a young age, or was it kind of much older? You kind of
I was always fond of storytelling, but I was intimidated by it. So I always have these ideas and never did anything with it. In 2021, I got gravely ill. I wasn't expected to be okay. I was in bed for 6 weeks, and I was like, what the hell are you afraid of at this point? So I had this character envisioned in my head, which winds up being tragedy. And I just started writing, and I didn't look back. And because once you remove all the intimidation and fear and just realize in the grand scheme of things, man, you just writing, just have a good time with it. And when I was able to let go of that, I think my writing strengthened because I don't get writer's block. I don't worry. I don't stress. I don't force anything. It's like I'm just sitting around a campfire telling kids a bunch of stories,
Yeah. Wow. I mean, that's quite a catalyst to kind of start writing. That you're so sick. I mean, that's crazy. So yeah, you've written a lot of books since then. But I mean, how do you find the time to write? Because that's always how. I mean, this is a question that like a lot of us like face because we're doing multiple jobs. Like, how do you segment your day so you can actually create?
Well, I mean, I'll be honest with you, and my wife will attest to this. There's something wrong with me. I don't sleep much. I don't sleep well. I never have. I can live off of 3 hours of sleep and I'll be fine. I've been doing it for 20 years. And so, there's two components to it. There's, if you really want it bad enough, you'll make the time.
Yeah.
And I know that sounds cliche. And I know people say it's easier to say that than it is. No, I'm living it. So if I can do it, you can do it. I'm not special. But it helps that I'm not much of a sleeper anyway. So it affords me more hours in the day. I mean, I'm up 21 hours a day,
Yeah. That's a lot. I mean, yeah, I agree with you. I mean, like, I think it's, there's always an excuse, right? Like, I think we often like put things that I don't have time to do this, or we make choices and we don't kind of sometimes like to take ownership of those choices, right?
It's how motivated you are. See, I'm very fortunate, and I'm not going to get too religious, but I believe that it's a gift I've been given that I'm a self-motivator. I don't require outside motivation to get pumped up for something. I just motivate myself, But then when I watch a Rocky movie or something, I'm even more motivated. A lot of people need external motivation. They feel down, they get depressed. I get that. I totally understand it. But when I have a moment of depression or feeling down, it lasts about a minute, and then something just kicks in me and says, "Oh, shut up and get up and do something. What are you doing?"
Yeah.
And then I just motivate myself, and then I go do it. And it stresses my wife. It scares the hell out of her because she's more reserved, and I'm more like, "Oh, look, a pool," and I just jump in. She's like, "But you don't know how to swim." I'm like, "I'll figure it out." I don't worry about failure.
Yeah.
The only thing I worry about is looking back with regret, because as a nurse, I see a lot of older people, and in their last years, it's brutal.
Yeah.
Because they think about all the things they didn't try to do or they didn't accomplish, or what if I tried? And I think that's hell. And I'd rather live a hard life of hard work than looking back when I'm deteriorating and going, what could my life have been if I just tried? Because I know that if this doesn't succeed for whatever reason, although I think it will, I can live with that because I know I gave it my best.
Yeah.
It's like Rocky said, if I could just be standing when that bell rings at the end, and I know that I went toe to toe with the best, I can live with that. I don't need the belt. So I guess that's just how I feel.
Yeah, no, I totally admire that. Would you say then that you love the process of writing? Because I think there's people who love the process. Like I love the process. Like I really love it. And then there's people who hate the process, but they love the outcome. They love like the end. Having
I love
written.
my process.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a big believer that there are foundational rules that you follow usually, but I'm also a big believer in if you're so stuck on those, then you're focused on the wrong thing. I mean, Todd McFarlane will tell you, they told him you can't put Spider-Man's knee behind his head and you can't do spaghetti webbing. And Todd told him to F off.
Yeah.
And he did his own thing, and look what happened. So you got to look at who's telling you what the boundaries and guidelines are before you determine if those boundary and guidelines are legit or should be followed to your liking. So when I write, I'm a kind of hybrid between the Marvel way and a traditional script with dialogue involved and everything, because I want to give the artists a little freedom so they can enjoy what they do, and be part of the storytelling, because I'm not an artist. That's their specialty. And I don't want to be constricting to anyone's creativity, because you won't get the best out of them. But at the same time, I do have to give some art direction, and I have to give them, what is the character's emotions in that scene, how you're going to draw them emoting, things like that. So the process of writing, I think, is kind of subjective. You can talk to a million people and get a million different answers, but I'm happy with my process.
Yeah, when we'll I mean, we'll do it differently, right? I mean, so like as long as you're happy with like how it's working, and I mean the results kind of speak for themselves, I think. So with that in mind, like, did you ever think about pitching your books to a traditional publisher, or did you always kind of know that you wanted to kind of like put them out through like Filbo Publishing?
Deep down, I always knew I was going to do it myself, but sometimes I like to test yourself against, things to see where you stand. So I submitted directly to Jim Valentino of Image through a mutual friend. Jim was very kind. He looked at it, and he came back and he said, the book looks great. It was tragedy, but it's not what we're looking for right now, because they didn't want any superhero type books. And again, he was really nice. He said good things about the book. He wasn't, rude or dismissive, and he said he liked it. I'm assuming he's not just being nice, because Jim will be blunt with you. And I was like, all right, I had enough of that. I'm not relying on anybody else to tell me I'm not asking for anybody to hand me the belt, but you're not going to tell me I can't get in the ring and fight. I will not ask for permission to get in the ring.
Yeah, no, should you? I mean, you have to. If you're waiting for permission, you're waiting forever, right? You have to.
Putting your fate in someone else's hands, and I refuse to do that. My fate is in God's hands and my hands, and that's it.
Yeah. So, with that in mind, about like doing that, did you always kind of then think about you were going to go crowdfunding like as a business model, or did you consider other options for kind of bringing your books to life?
Well, I thought crowdfunding is a great opportunity, and it was booming back when I started. It was during COVID and everything.
Yeah.
And I came out of the gate really strong, doing over 10 grand on my first campaign and continuing. So I think crowdfunding is a wonderful tool, but unfortunately, a couple of things have happened with it where it became an independent distribution system, and it's not built for that. It's not meant to be that. And everybody and his sister was doing comics. And then the big guys that have direct market are now using Kickstarter, and they're taking up all the money. When millions are going to Skybound and Dynamite and everything, and I'm not knocking them. It's free market, it's capitalism, go for it. But that means that's where everybody's money is going to. A $400 pledge on G.I. Joe means they don't have the $40 or $20 for Tragedy anymore.
Yeah.
So I saw the writing on the wall years ago, and I saw that the demographic was changing to a collector demographic. Like, they liked the swag, they liked the metal covers and the foils and the NSFW and the graded stuff. And I was like, okay, but that's not sustainability for a guy like me, because I need readership. I want people that are going to follow my book for the story, not for the swag. So I knew that I have to go direct market. And I pitched to Diamond, and they rejected me with a very weird, it didn't make sense. It seemed like a total, excuse my language, bullshit story. And that was the second time I was like, you know what am I wasting my time for? I told my brother, and my brother, he goes, do everything yourself. Why don't you just go do distribution? I was like, you know what? Son of a bitch. All right. And that was it.
That's how funny you. that was all it took to get into it. Wow. I mean, I'm just trying to unpack that because I mean, publishing like is one thing. So even going through crowdfunding is a lot of work. Then sort of thinking about direct market and then distribution, like that's a lot of complexity.
Yeah, it's not a lemonade stand on my lawn. That's for damn sure.
Yeah. So so like even just thinking about like what did you do to kind of think? Okay, how do you even start to think about filling the gap that Diamond kind of left? Like what do you do? What's the first step that you kind of?
The first step was getting a reliable list of all the retailers across the country to start, and then I could focus on the world.
Yeah.
And I figured out a way to do that on my own. And then, of course, after I did that, Diamond released the list through their bankruptcy.
Yeah.
But I matched it up, and I was actually about 96% accurate with my list. It was arduous. It took a lot of time to get that list accumulated, but over 8 months, 4 or 5 hours at night between like midnight and 4 or 5 in the morning, I was just compiling that list. And that was the first step. Then it was understanding how distribution works and developing an infrastructure. And once you understand what the infrastructure is, you understand what labor you need, which means you understand what team you need. And then it's formulating the team, getting the right people on board, of which I was very fortunate to get. She's currently my product manager. Her name is Maura Powers, but I'm actually going to be making her a minority partner in all of this very soon because she is so dedicated to this. And I couldn't do this without her. She's doing all the web page and the catalogs and all the digital and technical IT stuff that I can't do. And this wouldn't be happening without her. So I felt she really should be on board as invested in this. She deserved it. And she works just as hard as I do. So
yeah.
So yeah, it was that was basically get the list, get the infrastructure in place, and then get the right team to be able to provide the services and fulfill that infrastructure properly. I have my own space that I own. It's not a large space. It's like 2,000 square feet, but it's big enough to do fulfillment and now house a machine. And I have means to keep my costs down. I mean, I'm a registered nurse that makes well over 6 figures now. Plus, it's a family business. I have family members that work and help. I'm not paying. I'm going to be owning the machine. I own the place. So I'm not paying rent. I'm not paying, that. So my overhead is quite low. And that means instead of hoarding all of that money, I can pass that on to others and still make money, because then if everybody's winning, I'm part of everybody.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, this is really interesting. So how do you do so you got the infrastructure, you're kind of setting up a team, you kind of got people, but how did you kind of convince comic book stores to kind of buy into this? I mean, there's always been like a lot of tension between stores and like Diamond. I mean, like there's been lots of issues. So, what was the selling point that you kind of pitched to the comic stores on? Like, what you're obviously trying to do something a little bit different. Like I was looking at like you do returns, for example.
I'm going to be, yeah.
You're going to be, yeah. So it's like, is that something that came out of conversations with them, or was this like something that you kind of had a business plan and you knew that you were going to do it?
Well, I always wanted to provide certain things because I knew what the retailers needed, but I'm limited in what I can offer because of being a startup business. I can't give some of what they're asking for because of that. But we're growing into that, and with the POD, I can start giving them a lot of what they're asking for. But I also had to look at the retailer and the publisher side of things, and publishers needed an outlet. Now, I think the big things that helped me out of the gate, because I email blasted retailers and everything, but I think what really helped me is Rich Johnston and Bleeding Cool and Heidi McDonald of Comics Beat they did the articles on my press release. And then Zenescope, I was speaking with the owner, one of the owners of Zenescope, Joe, and he was on board to give it a try because Diamond had screwed them so badly and they didn't have any other options.
Yeah.
Antarctic Press, Devil's Due, Heavy Metal, a bunch of these guys that are, they're well-known names, said, yeah, let's do this, because Lunar wasn't accepting new people and they were very strict. And then, so they were like, let's try it. So I think the combination of the press that I got legitimized me, with some of these respected publishers legitimized me.
Yeah.
And then it's just a matter of proving yourself. You've got to give it time. We've gained more trust over 10 months through, great customer service, which I take great pride in, and delivering. Now, obviously, not everybody's on board. Some people are still wait and see. Some people are resistant to my prepaid terms, or I don't give enough discount. Most of the feedback we're getting now is that they just, they don't have an indie fan base at their stores, so they don't think they can order enough to justify the shipping.
Right.
So we just got to work hard, show them that these books can sell, and make them believers. Yeah,
no, absolutely. And I think we can do that. Like, I mean, I think there's ways it's about, because we talked a little bit about, like, this is community, like, and it's just about, like, how do you kind of figure out how to engage people in the right way. And I think that can be done. Like, I know that there's going to be resistance, and some people will be like, okay, I'm already ordering from Lunar. I don't want to order from another. That's
the other thing. Yeah. There's so many distributors. It's a lot for them to just get their orders in.
Yeah, and I mean, I can understand that, because you're juggling like lots of different lists. But I think, like, the audience for books is kind of like, it's very varied. People are. I mean, I think a lot of crowdfunding people are looking for riskier stuff. Like, they're looking for things that they can't get anywhere else. Mm-hmm. Those people are out there. Like, if you're a store and you can kind of develop relationships with them, then that's another customer like segment that you can tap into. I always say is, we have this mentality of targeting the retailers, but that's the wrong target for publishers, and I'll tell you why. Yeah. Retailers are trying to work hard to keep their doors open too, and they don't want to take a chance. They need guarantees, right? So you've got to target the fans, because when the fans come into a store and say, I want this in my pull list, and you've got 5, 6, 7 people demanding, say, my book Tragedy in a pull list, then that retailer goes, okay, I know I'm going to sell at least that 8 to 10 books a month. That maybe justifies a small order. Maybe I'll try a few other things. We have to give retailers confidence, and that's through consumerism. That's the free market. So I keep telling publishers, you can keep cold calling retailers all you want. What you could talk to you bleeding blue in the face, and the retailer might even think your book sounds great. But where's the guarantee they're going to make money off of it? And they have to keep their lights on and their doors open and their staff paid. So I say target the fans. Let the fans know it's out there. Let the fans tell the stores. Yeah, and I think maybe that's something that, on the indie creator side, that's something that we can do a bit more of, right? Like, I think there's still kind of this thinking that like marketing is going to be done by somebody else. But I think like the creators, like I think the creators do have a responsibility here to kind of drive people to the stores. And like if we give them a call,
bandwidth to do it though, it costs money and it's a lot of time, just social media alone. And then you're hitting echo chambers, or you're hitting, algorithms that are blocking you. It's really hard. It's a full-time job. It's difficult.
Yeah.
And a lot of these people are doing it on the side as well. But again, I'm just a firm believer. You want it, you bleed for it. That's it. It's just nothing comes. There is no diet pill.
Yeah.
You got to get up and get to the gym, and you got to stop shoving food in your face. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
There's no magic pill, or we'd all be taking it.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, it is work, right? It is work. I mean, if you love it, then you'll do it. So you kind of talked a little bit here about kind of like the sort of more established publishers. I mean, one of the things that I think is interesting about what you're doing is that you're opening it up to like, indie publishers, like, like people who are new. I mean, I guess the question is like, what do you define as a publisher in this sense? Is it like an individual creator who's kind of self-publishing, or are you looking for like structured entities to deal with? Like what is?
They have to be structured entities because at the end of the day, this is a business, and I'm going to be reporting my taxes, and you need to report yours. They don't coincide. So, yeah, you have to be a structured business, an actual publishing company. Does that mean you have to have shareholders or have four partners? No, you could be just John Ward, but you've got an LLC or whatever, with on the books. That's fine. And with retailers, have a tax ID number, because then I don't have to charge you tax, because sales tax is to the final sale, and you're a reseller, you're not the final sale. So it just behooves you to have this, a legal entity.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it kind of protects everybody. Yeah, but it's like it's always kind of a little unclear sometimes about like what constitutes a publisher and what doesn't. So I thought I'd ask.
Well, anybody can call themselves a publisher, but through action. Yeah. But how are you deemed in the eyes of the law at this point is really what's important when you're dealing with money exchange and business.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So if you got a publisher like who comes to you, but one of the things I saw that in your criteria was kind of like a real focus on the marketing plan. Which I think is great. But what are the things that you're looking for, like when people are putting a marketing plan together?
I want to see what their long-term plan is more than anything. And a lot of people don't know how to answer that question. And I kind of, I have a little leeway with it. It's hard because you don't have a lot of money to market. But I want to see if you're thinking outside of the box, what kind of efforts you're putting into it. Because if you're a publisher and you're telling me your only marketing plan is I post on Facebook, you're not going to get a far reach. Now, is that a deal breaker with me? Not necessarily, but it just makes me know that I have to reinforce to them, I'm your distributor. I'm not your marketing. I am just because you're on the Kickstarter platform in front of eyes doesn't mean you're going to get a high goal. It's the same with me. I'm just a tool in the belt. I'm a channel. I'm an avenue to use. But I'm not the end-all be-all. I'm not your golden ticket. You have to put the effort in to market your own book and company. I can't do that for you.
Yeah, yeah. So have you seen, I mean, I'm guessing that you've seen poorly written marketing plans. Do you kind of give the companies any feedback? Or do you just kind of, like, is it just kind of like, thanks, but no thanks?
I do. I give marketing suggestions. And, I've unfortunately, I try not to gatekeep. So I haven't turned anybody away yet for their marketing plan. I've had to turn people away just because the books were not on a professional level. I mean, and I've had to turn away AI. We do not accept AI. Yeah. I don't even accept ChatGPT writers. We put everything through an AI engine, 2 engines. Mora does it for me. And we will not, as a matter of fact, someone just submitted to me and it was absolutely AI, and we will not entertain that. That is the antithesis of what we are doing here in this creative realm. By the way, Flip Charles is saying hello from West Babylon. If I could just give it a shout out, Charles owns Hot Flips, which is the largest comic and art supply company here on the East Coast, maybe even across the country. Great guy, runs his own show. He sponsors New York Comic Con, and he's been wonderful to Phil Bow. Yeah. So I just want to let everybody know, if you're in the Long Island area, anywhere nearby, come check it out in West Babylon, and come see him at New York Con. Sorry, I hope.
Yeah, not at all. I mean, like, this is all about community, right? I mean, like, this is people tune in for a live experience. Like, it's a communal experience. Like, I think it's don't apologize for name dropping here. So yeah, like with what we've been talking about, you're now established like in this space. And I see, like the two things that like I want to dig into a little bit more. Kind of first one is around like the worldwide distribution, because like I saw that you kind of had done that, and then the second one is really around like the fact that you're doing POD and you're kind of moving into the crowdfunding fulfillment space. Mm-hmm. Just on the ladder, I guess to start with. So you're going to be offering like a service. Is there a selection process? Is it open to anybody? Like how do as an indie creator like myself, like I use Kickstarter, how do I approach you to kind of get services?
Well, we have different levels. Like if you want to do direct market distribution with us, we encourage you to print through us because you'll make money.
Yeah.
You won't make money the other way unless you're selling 10, 20,000 books, you know what I mean? Or 2, 3, 4,000 books, which is not likely for new people.
Right.
If you don't want to do direct market, but you want us to do your Kickstarter, we'll just do your Kickstarter and print your books. If you want to do neither crowdfunding or distribute direct market with us, and you just want us to print, we'll just print for you. All of them are interchangeable or individual, based on whatever you want to do, your needs. We just felt that the POD would really solve about 90% of the problems that publishers face. And those problems for the publishers being solved now trickles down to the retailers, so the retailers can get more of what they need. And I'm bridging that gap, and we're all working together symbiotically. But then that's where crowdfunding comes in, because a lot of these guys, they have a 5-issue miniseries, and they approach me, and they just crowdfunded issue 4, and they're coming to 5. It's a useful tool because they crowdfund 5, they pay for the production of the book, it's done.
Yeah.
Now they're ready to put all 5 books in direct market, hit a new audience, and they have the financial stability to do that. You know, but that's also part of that plan that I ask about, that marketing plan. Like, what are you doing with this? You know, and how far ahead are you? Because you can't. I've had people I had to turn away because they're coming to me. I just got my first Kickstarter done. Okay, but what do you know? Direct market is consistency. It's one thing on Kickstarter. You could go do a Kickstarter, and then 6-7 months later you do another one. Direct market, you have to meet a schedule, whether it's monthly, bi-monthly, quarterly, whatever it is. You have to meet that deadline, and there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. So you have to be ahead.
Yeah. So, but what I'm hearing though is that, like, so if you're an indie creator and you've done several books on Kickstarter and you are like registered as a company, you can actually use Filbo to print and fulfill the Kickstarter campaigns, and then also move into the direct market.
Correct.
That is a pathway. Okay. And is that's open to is that open to just US creators, or is that open to anywhere?
No, as a matter of fact, since I announced the POD, we have a ton of European creators reaching out to me because, like, for example, we have one publisher that's been with us from the start, Scratch Comics. They're out of the UK. Great guys. You know, Shane is awesome. Runs his own convention. Great books like Dracula, Cowboys versus Dinosaurs. Great guy. But at the end of the day, you know, unless he's selling 2,000-3,000 copies, he's not making money, because his print cost may be cheaper, maybe $1.70 or whatever over in the UK. But when it's all said and done with the shipping, he's paying like over $3. You know, to get your book here. So now that savings on the printing is gone just to get into the direct market of the United States, you know? So we eliminate that, because he can use Diamond UK and continue doing what he's doing in his home if he wants to. And then he can get into the direct market in the US and now make a profit, whether he sells 5 books or 5,000 books. And yes, he has been a big supporter in the UK, and I'm very grateful to him for that. Shane, Charlie McElvey, who has Zion Comics. There's some publishers with us. John Hagman, who's here, who's 10 Ton Press. They get what I'm doing, and they are on board with it. They're there. They understand it. They get the rising tides raise all ships. They know I'm a startup. They know we're going to have our bumps and bruises, and it's a climb, but they're on board to climb with me, and that is so invaluable. And I really appreciate that they have that understanding and mentality, and that's why they are going to be successful regardless, because they have the right mentality.
Yeah, that's good. It's a good thing to have. Jumping back to the worldwide distribution, though, like, how did that come about? Because you've already done a lot. You've done a lot of work here to kind of get all of the comic book stores listed in the States. You know, you could easily have just said, like, "Hey, that's enough." Why pursue worldwide? And then, like, did you follow the same model that you did?
For worldwide, the first thing I had to figure out was finding some freight forwarding companies to make it make sense for these overseas people. Like, we just had a store in Japan sign up, and It's got to make sense to them for shipping. And with the freight forwarding companies, they'll take all the distribution orders, consolidate them, and give them, they have these major deals with UPS and everything that they can get them these really low discounted rates that it helps make sense for them. So once I established relationships, and I'm continually doing that with these freight forwarders, it gave more consumer confidence by the retailers that are overseas.
Right.
We still have a ways to go. We have, we don't have a lot of overseas retailers doing it yet, but again, we're 10 months in. We were told we wouldn't make it 6 months. So nah.
Who said you wouldn't make it 6 months?
We have some haters, but that's okay. That's the way it goes.
Are they your competitors, I guess? I mean, like
one of them is, he tries to act like he's not. One of them is. The others are just bitter old school retailers that don't like prepay. And it's okay. I get it. They had prepay, net 30 or 60, 50% discount, free shipping. I mean, they had a lot going for them. And then, of course, Diamond went out of business because of it. And I'm just not in the business to go out of business.
Yeah.
So I had to find a way that's fair to them and fair to me. And some people see it as fair, as we have over 600 accounts. Some people don't see it as fair, and that's their right as a business owner to decide what's best for them.
Yeah. So I mean, you are doing something like a little bit different though, like than what Diamond did. So
the prepay is the big thing. Yeah,
that's the big difference. Yeah.
Well, Diamond lost millions in unpaid invoices.
Yeah.
And it's also, think about my labor costs. If I have to keep track of all these invoices, I have to have somebody keeping track, sending out the invoices, keeping track if we got payment, and doing all this clerical work. That's a lot of money spent on labor while I'm not guaranteed to get paid. I hate to be honest about this, to say this, but you're a retailer. You have a $10,000 Luna bill, a $10,000 Universal bill. Your kid needs braces, and the store had a rough week. Who's getting slighted? I am, because I was your $400 or $500 order or your $1,000 order. Of course, I'm the one getting slighted. I'm not Marvel and DC. I'm not shipping you Marvel and DC. So yes, I'm the one who's going to get slighted, and I have to protect myself and the publishers. I mean, I have to. I'm trying to do what's fair for everyone. I want retailers to win and succeed, but I also have to protect publishers, myself included. I'm a publisher in my own distribution.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
And don't get me wrong, that's not an indictment on retailers. I'm not implying that they're not honest people. Desperate times, desperate measures, though. If someone has to drop off, I know it's going to be me. That's just being realistic. Because if you don't have the money, you just don't have the money. They may say, give me a few months to pay. I'm a small business. I'm not a capitalist venturist. I can't. I just can't.
Yeah. But I think that's okay. I mean, that's fair, as long as everybody kind of knows where everybody stands, right? Like it's usually when there's a communication problem, that's when things start to go sideways. I think if everyone's open about it, I think it's totally fine.
Yeah, you may not like what comes out of my mouth, but you can trust it.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's good. I mean, but that's a good place to be, right? So we're having this conversation as part of Rain City Comic Con, which is here in Vancouver. I know that you also ran a comic convention. Can you tell me a little bit about that? Like, was that something that you did prior to publishing your first book? As a step into the world?
Yes, it was actually my first foray into the business side of the industry. I did my first comic convention in 2018, and we had some good names like Joe Rubenstein and Rags Morales and Peter David and Mike Lilly and Chris Sotomayor and Jim Calafiore. And it really did well because it was comic centric. It was focused on comics. And there are a few shows now, like Little Giants Comic Show here in New Hampshire and stuff, that are comic centric, and they're wonderful shows. But before anybody was really doing that, and they were becoming all these pop culture things, I started doing those shows.
Yeah.
Then my second show, we had Alex Sinclair and Scott Williams and Mark Bagley, and we were getting these big names and Willie Tucci and Marat Michaels and Al Garza, and we really started doing well and we're having a blast. And then my third convention, I had Jim Steranko and Adam Kubert and you know, a lot of big names. We had 82 people in Artist Alley, and you know, about 70% of them were big names, and it was comic centric, and we had a good time. And unfortunately, though, I kind of put that on hold for logistics reasons. But I'll be at New York Con and I'll have fans come up to me and it's very flattering, say, "Hey, you run that Long Island show? Yeah, what are you doing another one?" Or I'll have major names, like we had Norm Ratman at a show and he'll be like, "Hey, when are you doing another one?" You know, or Larry Stroman, "When are you doing another one?" And it's very flattering and I appreciate it. Just logistically, it's something I had to put on hold because I can only do so much.
Yeah, running a publishing house and distribution
and I was an art rep for a while too. So
okay, so yeah,
I wanted to learn all aspects. Look, the best way to be a successful businessman is to understand everybody's needs and everybody's roles. I wanted to understand what artists want and need, what writers want and need, what editors want and need, what publishers want and need, what logo designers want and need, colorists want and need, inkers want and need, showrunners, you know, everybody. That's the only way to be successful. And it's also the only way for me to find a way for everybody to win, because that is important to me.
Yeah.
It's only 27 hours in a day. And I apologize. Zaid Comics asked, when should you hear back after we submit to Filbo? I'm very quick to respond normally. So within a week, usually it's within 48 hours, you'll hear back from me. But I would say within a week, I get back to you. Lately, though, I did get inundated because of the POD. And I finally got back to like the 100 people yesterday and today. Sometimes I'm a little slower, but I try to be timely because I feel correspondence is the simplest respect you can give. Yeah. And I hate when people just ignore you. I get a lot of people that come into my DMs and they're spamming and they're soliciting and everything. So I get it can be overwhelming and sometimes you just don't want to deal with it. But when it's a publisher or a retailer, you know, looking to do business with me, I want to respect that. Yeah. You're putting your trust in me, then I have to earn that trust. And the first step is communication.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, but that's a really fast turnaround. Like I have to say, like that's pretty impressive.
Like that's usually, if you look at my correspondences, they're usually late. 12 morning, 1 in the morning. You know?
Yeah. Okay. Well, you only sleep 3 hours a day, so like that makes sense. But yeah, I mean that's good because often you kind of like as a creator you kind of end up waiting around. Like that's you kind of hear like with dark horse submissions, it's like, oh, if you don't hear from us within like 6 months, then you can assume that. Like,
I don't like to do that because I like to offer feedback. I mean, again, I'm not some big company, but if you're submitting to me, I think you deserve at least to know why. If I'm not able to work with you, because that only helps you for your next submission. Because I never look at it as like I'm saying no to you. I'm saying not yet.
Yeah, not yet. Yeah, not
it's
now.
Always not yet, because people grow, people get better, people learn if they want to. And maybe that same publisher who is only 1 Kickstarter in comes back to me five Kickstarters from now with a completed series, and the book looks fantastic, and they really get it now.
Yeah.
I never want to be the reason someone stops creating or dreaming.
Yeah.
I don't want to be that, you know, and nobody should want to be that. Now, I do have to run a business, and I do have to have certain guidelines to follow, but you can still provide feedback. It can still be a positive experience. You know, rejection doesn't have to be cruel.
No, it doesn't. I mean, I get rejected a lot, but I always, I always want to learn something. And I think the business is about tenacity, right? Like it's not that you're going to get like, hit it out the park when you first up a bat. Like you have to keep digging and keep pushing, right? And I think that's really what you're kind of helping people with by providing like feedback. You're kind of helping them on that journey, which is great.
I think the percentage of people that have made it that didn't struggle first has to be less than 1%. Yeah. We just never saw the 10 years of struggle. We only saw them when they became the spotlight.
Yeah, it's the overnight success, right? That took like
because we didn't see the journey because we didn't know them, and that's why they weren't successful. So I mean, what I always tell everybody is, take it on the chin, learn from it, grow from it, be objective. And because some people, they're giving you advice because they're just salty, and it's not in your best interest, and some people are.
Yeah.
And you have to be able to determine who's being authentic and who's giving you good advice and who's not. And then you have to be mature enough to take it on the chin and say, all right, I have to work on this, or this is why it's not doing this, or I have to understand. Maybe, look, we all think our books are great, but not all of them are great. It's just the truth. Some of them, they're just not. And but I believe the free market should decide, not a distributor, not a public. I mean, publishers have to because they're the ones investing, but a distributor shouldn't be the one to decide. The free market should.
Yeah, that's great. A great approach. I want to kind of think about where you're going next, because you're a man of great ideas, and kind of I like how you're kind of connecting like a lot of the dots here. To me, like comics as a business has always kind of felt very strange, very old-fashioned, like very like behind the times. I kind of think that what you are trying to do is kind of like modernize a lot of stuff, connecting the dots, which is great. Like, where do you see yourself like in 5 years? Like, what's your kind of like 5-year vision that you're kind of pursuing?
Hopefully still married, because man, my wife is stressed. I see us as a moderately successful distribution company, a very successful printing company, and a moderately successful publisher. I don't have lofty millionaire dreams. I just want to be part of the solution, not part of the problem in this industry. And I want to do what I love every day, just like everybody else. And if I can comfortably pay my bills, go on a modest trip with my wife, or date with my wife, or order a pizza and not worry about paying for it, and I'm able to do distribution and printing to do that and put out stories, I'm happy. See, I think ambition can be tied up into how much money you make or how much fame you make. And if that's what your desire is, go for it.
Yeah.
That's not my ambition. I just want to be respected in the industry for my efforts. I want to help as many people be successful as they want to help themselves. And I want to just enjoy getting up every day for whatever time I have left on this planet. So I think in 5 years, we're going to be doing very well. I think, to be honest with you, I think in a year and a half, we're going to be doing very well. I think this POD is going to be big. Yeah. And again, you know, I have several revenue streams going on. And that's what's key. When you lock into one revenue stream, you suffer. But publishing comics, that's the Snickers bar of grocery shopping. But printing and distribution are the milk, bread, and eggs. And that's where your revenue stream is more solid and your business plan is solid. Now, it's just a matter of how you execute. Yeah. And if you can be consistent and follow through. And if there's one thing this stubborn old Irishman can do, is be consistent and follow through.
Yeah, well, I absolutely believe you. That to me sounds like a good place to end our conversation. I think if anyone's got questions for Phil, please throw them in the chat. Phil, where can we find you online? What's the best place to kind of connect with you and follow up with more questions or information?
Because Facebook really buries in the algorithm any business pages or whatever, I go off my main page, Philip Russert. That's where you get the most information. We also have our group page for Philbo Distribution. I encourage you to sign up. And on Instagram, I have my page, Phil Russert, and I also have Philbo Publishing. I just can't keep up with all these social media platforms. So
yeah.
But there's more now in the chat. That she's the product manager, soon to be part owner that I mentioned, that does everything with the website and how beautiful it looks. And if without her, I couldn't do this. So I'm happy and excited to bring her on as a partner. So, all praise to Maura.
Yeah.
and I just would say all praise to my wife, because real quick, I don't mean to deviate. I know you probably want to go, but I'm a very fearless guy. I don't worry. Let's just go do it. I don't care. I don't care how I look. I don't care what you think of me. I don't worry about failure. I don't. My wife is my polar opposite as far as she's reserved. She's worried about everything. Everything is like, you know, whatever. And this woman is all in on this. being my Adrian, my you know, she's there for me, though it's stressing the shit out of her. I mean, I really stress my wife. She's like, how do you just go do things and you're fearless? You don't care. I don't know. I just don't. And if it wasn't for my wife supporting this, I wouldn't be doing it, because I told her, I said, if you think I should stop and you want me to stop, I'll stop. And she told me, you can't stop. That's not who you are. And that's not who I want you to be. And she supported me 100% in buying this machine and getting this going. And, you know, there's a saying, for every great man, there's a woman behind him. No, there's not. There's a woman next to him. She keeps me going. She's my motivation. She's my reason. Her and my children. And she's not on social media because she's a very humble person, but everybody needs to know how amazing my wife is. And you know, and Maura. So those are two great women in my life that I greatly appreciate. And they help and lift me up. So I may be the face, I may get all the credit, but they're there. So anyway, that's that.
No, thank you for sharing that. I think that's wonderful. To have so many people around you who are kind of supportive and, you know, willing to kind of go on this journey with you, because we don't do this alone. Like, that's the thing.
You have to have the right people.
Yeah, you do. You have to have the right people. But I think, you know, the myth of the lone creative genius who kind of does all this stuff, you know, we are humans. We have connection. We need people around us, and it's great that you picked people around you to kind of really support you. So thank you for sharing that, Phil. That's really great.
Thank you. I'm a very transparent guy, and I wear my heart on my sleeve, and I think you could be a good businessman and still be honest and sincere. I don't think I have to step on necks. I don't. No. I just feel like the industry has gone downhill because we're listening to the wrong people.
Yeah.
And those people have self-interest in mind. And once they pick the bone, the meat off the carcass, they'll just find a new carcass. I don't want a new carcass. I like this industry. I love comics. They're the greatest medium in the world. We need to nurture it, respect it, honor it. We need to be part of it, not part of its demise. And I don't think people have enough, they can't see past their own nose to understand that. I'm glad you're doing really well, but what are you doing to the industry as a whole?
Yeah.
You know, that's why, like with distributing, I tell people, I will not gatekeep you if you have an NSFW book, but if you have a nude cover, you either have to black bag it or bag and board it and just cover the naked areas. Why? I wouldn't want my 13 or 12-year-old daughter to walk in to pick up a Spider-Man and see a girl spread eagle next to her. And guess what? I'm not letting her go back in that store. And all that does is kill the industry. Right? There is a demographic for it, and that's wonderful.
Yeah.
But we have to be strategic about how we're doing it, because we don't want comic stores to be inundated with all of that to where we're alienating future readers. Kids are future readers. They're already getting priced out, and now we're going to content them out. You know? So these things matter to me. I think about these things. And I know it pisses off some people. I know people don't like me because I say this. I don't care. I don't care. They come after me. They create YouTube channels about me. They do whatever. I don't care. I use it as fuel. And the reason why I keep mentioning it is because I want everybody to know, keep doing it. It just makes me stronger.
You thrive on it.
I thrive on adversity. I do better when you're throwing punches at me.
Yeah, I mean, right from the start of this conversation, I think that's something I would have guessed about you. So I think I'm glad that we kind of loop back around to that. And we can kind of see that. Phil, thank you so much for your time. This has been a great conversation, and I really I look forward to trying to work with you down the road. I'm sure a lot of other people are going to do that too. I think we're all hoping that you can be successful and keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you. And I just want to say, everybody in the area should go to Rain City Comic Con. Thank you guys for reaching out to me. I'm sorry I couldn't make the show, but I wish you guys a great event when it occurs. And I hope that you have a huge turnout, and I hope everybody supports their local convention, in this case, Rain City Comic Con.
Yeah. Thanks, Phil. Okay. Thank you, everybody. It's been great. And we'll see you. Enjoy the rest of your evening and the rest of your week. Thank you.
Thanks. And by the way, just for the confusion, we had technical difficulties. This was supposed to be on John's platform interviewing me, but because of the technical difficulties, we went on my platform and shared to his. So I'm kind of controlling the intro and outro at this point. Yeah. But this was all John and Rain City Comic-Con inviting me to be interviewed and talk about these things. So again, thank you guys.
Thanks, Phil.
Take care.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just gonna tell you in 20 minutes I'm going live to launch the Kickstarter for DM Ray's Madcaps issue 3. So I'll be back in 20 minutes. No rest for the weary. I'll remind you, be legendary and have fun storming the castle.